My name is Alina. I'm 29. I never thought I'd be the kind of person sitting here talking about God. I grew up believing in Him, but He felt more like tradition than presence. We prayed before holidays, said God bless at the end of text, and went to church when it was convenient. But honestly, I didn't know Him. Not really. I just knew how to look like I did. I could quote verses. I had a Bible on my shelf. But God wasn't someone I talked to. He was a word I used when I needed something. I didn't even see the problem. I thought that was normal. Faith for me was background noise. Something safe, something I could keep at arm's length while I chased everything else the world told me mattered. And what mattered for most of my 20s was me. How I looked, what people thought, and whether I was being noticed. I built my identity on the internet. At first, it was harmless. Photos with friends, little moments I wanted to share. But soon, it turned into something else. I started craving the validation. If my photo did well, I was happy. If it didn't, I spiraled. Every like became a pulse check for my worth. Every comment felt like oxygen. It's embarrassing to admit now, but I built a whole life around being admired. I learned how to pose like I was confident, how to write captions that sounded deep. I even started mixing scripture into my photos, not because it moved me, but because it performed well. I knew exactly what my audience wanted, a version of me that looked peaceful, spiritual, and put together. But the truth was, I wasn't any of those things. Behind the filters and smiles, I was falling apart. I was anxious all the time, angry at people who seemed happier than me, and terrified of being forgotten. I told myself I was building a brand, but really I was building an idol, and that idol was me. Then came the day everything collapsed. The relationship I thought was God's plan ended suddenly. My best friend stopped talking to me after a stupid fight, and for the first time I couldn't fix it by posting something inspiring. I felt like a fraud, even worse, I felt abandoned. I remember one night, sitting in my room, surrounded by empty coffee cups, and my phone lighting up with messages I didn't want to answer. I stared at my reflection in the black screen and whispered, God, where are you? And for the first time in my life, there was no answer from the world, no notification, no dopamine rush, just silence. That night I broke down. I told God, or maybe just the ceiling, that I didn't know what I was doing anymore. And something happened. Not a vision, not an angel, just a presence, quiet, heavy, and real. It was like someone had stepped into the room, and inside of my spirit, I heard it. You know my name, but you don't know me. I froze, because deep down, I knew that was true. It was the kind of truth that doesn't flatter you, it undoes you. For years, I'd been wearing his name like jewelry, but my heart was far from him. I talked about God, but I didn't talk to him. I looked like a believer, but I lived like a stranger. I started to cry. Not cute movie tears, but ugly, hiccuping, body-racking sobs. Because suddenly, all the fake peace I'd built came crashing down. And that's when he spoke again, not in anger, but with this steady grief. I can't heal what you keep pretending isn't broken. Those words hit me like a wave. Every mask I'd ever worn, perfection, control, performance, shattered in that moment. I confessed everything. Every compromise, every lie, every time I used his name to look holy while living however I wanted. And as I confessed, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Love. Not the kind that flatters, but the kind that refines. It was like light pouring into the darkest places of my heart. For hours, I just sat there whispering, I'm sorry. And I meant it. Not because I was scared of punishment, but because I finally saw how far I drifted from the one who loved me. Then as the sun came up, that heavy presence stayed, and I heard him say, I forgive you, just like that. Not a single thing I'd ever done or said could change how he saw me. It didn't take away the consequences of what I'd done, but it took away shame. I'm still wrestling with my old patterns and habits, and honestly, it can still be really hard to be honest when so much is tempting me to look the other way. But even when I screw up, even on my worst days, I still hear his voice, not condemning me, just reminding me of the truth. He's teaching me what God really means, not a religion or a brand, but a relationship. And the more I focus on knowing him instead of looking like I know him, the more beautiful and real he becomes. I don't have all the answers, but I know this. He sees you, the real you, not the one behind the filter or the caption. And he's saying exactly what he said to me. I can't heal what you keep pretending isn't broken. So if that hits something in your heart today, Just breathe. You're not alone. And surrender. It's not losing. It's finally coming home. I still make mistakes. Every day. And maybe tomorrow I'll mess up again. But when I go too far, every time without fail, there he is. Standing with open arms, like a dad waiting for the kid who stayed out way too late. He took away the mask I wore and taught me to embrace my vulnerability. He replaced the noisy world with a deep stillness. He took away my false sense of control and showed me that true trust lies in him. And now, whenever I say God is real, it's not just words, it's a testimony backed by experience. Because I've tasted his love. In my emptiness, he filled me. In my pride, he humbled me. In my agony, he was present. And that's why I remain, not playing a role or putting on a show, but testifying to the truth that saved me. God is real, and when the truth of him seeps into every part of you, it can both break you and restore you. And that's why I'm not afraid to say it, even if it makes people angry. Grace doesn't care about your reputation. Not the world's version of grace. Polite forgiveness with conditions and expectations. But real grace? The kind that looks at me, the girl who faked faith for fame, and says, "You're still mine." It doesn't ask you to get clean first. It doesn't require a perfect apology. It steps into the mess before you even know how to ask for help. And honestly, that offends people. Because we've built churches full of performances and pews full of perfectionists, afraid someone will find out they're still struggling. But let me tell you something dangerous. God isn't looking for more polished liars smiling in pews. He's looking for broken truth tellers on their knees. If my story makes you uncomfortable, good. Maybe it means it's cutting through the noise. Maybe it means he's saying through me what no one else dares. You don't need to fix yourself before coming home, because home has already come after you. And maybe some people will hate it. They'll call it watered-down theology, or liberal Christianity, or whatever label works. But I don't need their approval, because God isn't just a religion. He's a God of surprises. He showed up in a stable, not a temple. He became flesh, not perfect. And he loves sinners, not saints. And I'd rather be a broken vessel showing real grace than a polished liar preaching a perfect version of God that only looks pretty on camera. So if you're tired of trying to be a Bible Christian who always says and does all the right things, if you're sick of feeling like a fraud for stumbling, for failing, for questioning, if you're done with trying to impress the world, the church, your family, and you're just looking for what's real, then take it from me. He sees you. He loves you. And when your story doesn't look good, you can still be good enough for him. Maybe your heart doesn't look picture perfect. Maybe you're carrying guilt and shame. Maybe the church has made you feel like you need to be a certain kind of Bible-believing Christian before you belong. But my story isn't about being perfect. It's about being found messy and broken by a God who wants you just as you are. Don't be afraid of the uncomfortable. Don't hide behind the polished version of faith. He's reaching out. Meet him in your brokenness. I did.